Morning. Good to be with you this morning and continuing to build on the four pillars of a healthy Christian business leader. The four pillars are healthy relationships, biblical financial values, biblical spirituality, and balanced living. And as I've mentioned, over the time when we have kind of an extra week in between 2 months, I throw in a week talking about Proverbs. And so this week we're talking about Proverbs, and I'm particularly focused on Proverbs 25 for business leaders. Yesterday we talked about humility in leadership is better than arrogance. This morning we're talking about winning an argument but losing the war. And if you've been in business, you've probably experienced that from time to time. I'm out here at a soccer field, a football field, and this is the bleachers here, and I'm bringing this to you from the bleachers this week. And on the football field, so oftentimes there are battles that we have to choose to fight to move the ball forward, to get the goal. Well, today as we talk about this, sometimes we feel like we have to do everything we can to defend our good name. Sometimes the harder we fight, this fight, the more we seem to lose. We might even win the argument, but in the end, things are worse. Proverbs chapter 25, and the sun is just beautifully shining over here. Proverbs chapter 25, verses 8 through 10 say the following: "Do not go out hastily to argue your case. Otherwise, what will you do in the end when your neighbor humiliates you? If you want to tell your friends about your own problems, tell them. But don't discuss with someone what someone told you in private. Whoever hears it will lose their respect for you and will never trust you again." And then in verse 23, he repeats something similar. He says, "Just as wind blowing from the north brings rain, telling secrets brings anger." Now, there's several principles I think that we can learn from this proverb, from these verses today. And the first thing is this: know which battles are worth fighting. Based on verse 8, know what battles are worth fighting. Some are, some aren't. Just like in the game of football, there are some things you say, okay, we're going to push here, we're not going to push there, we're going to play this play, we're going to do this, and we know which battles to fight and which ones, we say, you know what, not this one, not this way. The same is true in business. It's true in our personal life at home. It's true also at church and in our communities. Know what battles are worth fighting. Some battles will only end up in humiliation. No matter how hard you fight, no matter how right you are, the end result still is humiliation. And so we need to be careful to know which battles are worth fighting and which ones are not. And then confiding in a friend is a good thing. It really is. It's an opportunity for you to share your heart with somebody that you trust, that you know, that you can say, you know what, I trust that this person is going to keep the confidence and they're going to be able to help me work through whatever situation I am going through. But when you do that, be careful not to tell other people's stories. And so oftentimes that's where we get a bit of a downfall, where we are talking about our situation, but then we want to kind of minimize our situation. And so we minimize it by saying, yeah, but so-and-so, this person told me. I don't know if you ever caught yourself. I know I have caught myself in the years where, I'm talking to somebody about a situation and all of a sudden something comes out, and the moment I say it, I thought, oh shoot, I was not supposed to say that. I was not supposed to tell anybody that. Sometimes that happens. And I've had that happen where I've had to go and just humbly ask for forgiveness to the person. And that's very important, that if you find yourself doing, having done that, where you say, you know what, I just need to ask you for forgiveness. That's the best thing that you can do. Good morning, Kevin. Good to have you on here this morning. Well, you know what? The reason that this is so important that we not tell other people's stories, he tells us in verse 10, because the person that you're talking to, if you are telling other people's stories to them, what you will find is that they will not trust you. They will not respect you. The person will not trust you with their situation. And you find that in verse 10. They'll say, you know what, like if this person's going to talk about that other person and tell me their story, who are they going to talk to about me? Have you ever been in a room where you're just terrified to leave the room? Because you're almost guaranteed that the moment you leave the room, they're going to be talking about you, because everybody in that room's been talking about everybody else that's not in the room. And so you're saying, I'm not leaving. I'm not going to be one of the first ones out of this room, because the moment I leave, I'm the next object of discussion. Well, that's kind of what he's talking about here, is that these people will look at you and they will not trust you. And they will not give you any kind of information about their situation. And when you're building relationships, and when you're building, trying to encourage someone to help you with your situation, oftentimes the way that is done is by, again, that mutual trust, where you can share with me and I can share with you, knowing that it's not going to go any further than that. And yet, when you're talking about other people, then that discredits you and that takes it away. And then verse 23, he adds there, he says, just like, the north wind brings the rain, telling someone else's secrets, telling someone else's stories brings anger. And it will bring anger upon you. And so that's why it's so significant and so important that we take these things to heart. Yeah, it's good to talk to somebody about what you're going through. But don't use other people's stories to make yourself feel better, because that'll only hurt them and you in the long run. So today, as you go about your day, ask yourself if the battle that you're facing today is worth fighting. We all have battles that we face. Good morning, Mike. We all have battles that we face. But you know what? It's important that we recognize that not all battles are worth fighting. Some battles are just worth walking away from. And then may we respect the privacy of others and not gossip. Have a great day, and I'll see you again tomorrow.